Welcome in, everybody, to the 10th. Wow, I can't believe it. 10th episode of Respect Coin. I'm your host, Michael Bolling. And we've got so much to cover. It's been a crazy football season, and we've reached the conference championship games. I can't believe it. There's 3 NFL games left for the whole year. 3. I remember being extremely overhyped this year in week 1, going to the tailgate in the South Lot, and everything just ended with a Hail Mary. So we will come full circle with that. Obviously, we know the 4 teams left. We've got the Commanders, the Eagles, the Bills, and the Chiefs. One team, the Commanders, who I'm growing to not like, making it very far unexpectedly. But we've got plenty to dive into. Really excited about this week. Really excited to have now the 10th episode of Respect Coin. So if you've been listening, subscribing, liking, sharing, winning money with us, thank you. Thank you. We will keep it moving. Let's go back and take a peek, as we always do, with the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good. Few plays last week for Bulls Hornets. The same game parlay cashed. If you took that, that was a winner. A little bit more sweaty than I wanted it to be, but that Bulls Hornets game was really objectively fun to cover. Josh Giddey sold for us. That was kind of tough, but the SGP came through. Jules and Kev, we had a SGP, a bigger one, more like a long shot parlay. That came pretty darn close. So still seeing it well with the Bulls. We'll keep chipping away there. Team might look a little different over the next month. Trade deadline coming up on February 6th. So got to really dig deep into the bag, get in the lab if there's some players moved, because we have cashed a lot of bets on Zach. We have cashed a lot of bets on Vooch. They could be in different places. I hear rumors about Lonzo, hearing rumors about Giddey. Who knows what can happen between now and February 6th. The interesting thing is the Bulls haven't made a trade at the trade deadline in like 4 years. So who knows? Could be something, could be nothing. We will see. But the good was we did wheel home a winner in Bulls Hornets last week. The bad. I don't think many people had the Lions losing to the Commanders on their bingo card. I, for one, did not. And the Lions killed the divisional round teaser. Felt really good about that bet. 3 of the 4 legs hit. Obviously, the Lions losing. Definitely smoked it. But ultimately, this is how you turn a negative to a positive. The Lions lose. The Bears somehow, some way, against all odds, in my opinion, hire Ben Johnson right away. I mean, we thought this was going to drag out a little longer. Second round interviews. They still had people on the original list that they were supposed to talk to. Maybe it was all really a smokescreen. But we got our guy. We got Ben Johnson. Really, really excited about him. Felt really good about the press conference, as most people did. But I'm going to try my best not to get overhyped when betting futures, because I lost every futures bet I placed last year on the Bears. So I might just let my heart take over next year. I'll bet them to win the Super Bowl, because that's just tradition. And I do like donations. So that will happen. My guess is the Bears will probably open up at 8.5 wins for their win total, something like that. Vegas has to factor in the fact that we are crazy, silly, irrationally dumb Bears fans, and we do bet with our hearts. So they have to bake that in. I do think Ben Johnson will be near the top of the list for Coach of the Year candidates next year. One of the things that I mentioned just a second ago was the Chicago market, obviously a legal sports betting state, will bet with their hearts. So I'm sure, like a lot of people did last year, drove the price way down on Eberflus. That was a swing and a miss, big time. Didn't even make it to Christmas. So I expect to see Ben Johnson pretty high on that list, and will probably get bet down once those markets open. And I got a little bit of a hot take. I think there's no debate. Jaden Daniels is going to win the offensive rookie of the year this year, and well-deserved. He had on the heels of C.J. Stroud's rookie year last year, he had probably an even more impressive rookie year this year. So he deserves the award. Good for him. I think Caleb Williams will win an MVP before Jaden Daniels. That's not to say Caleb Williams is going to win MVP next year, but two things. Chicago, greater than DC. Obviously, we know that. I don't think anyone's going to argue that unless you're from DC. And if you're from DC, I don't care. It is what it is. Chicago's a better city. And I think more notable city. So if Dan Quinn and Jaden Daniels reach the Super Bowl this year, that's even more pressure that he'll have to kind of overcome next season, whereas Caleb Williams is kind of stepping into a new situation, and he still has an opportunity to surprise people. Obviously, we didn't see the full gamut of what he can do. We did see flashes. So I think if there was like a long-range bet and you could bet which player would win an MVP first, I'd put my money objectively on Caleb Williams. And to wrap this up for the first segment, the ugly. I'm really sad still about the Ravens. I was really excited about them this season. Obviously, I had a future bet on them, $5 to win like $1,200. That was placed back in August. Yeah, a tough way to go out. I think they probably are the better team between them and the Bills, but you have to go on the road. That makes it tough. They lost the turnover battle miserably. Not a good recipe to try and advance to the conference championship. So their season is over. It is what it is. We reset from here on. And I can't talk about it too much, even though the next segment I do have to mention a couple things. It's just hard. I do want to see Lamar Jackson win a championship. He definitely needs to play a little better in those kind of winner-take-all games. But we'll see where the Ravens go from here. I think their roster's still loaded. I think they're coached extremely well. Everyone knows that. So I have a feeling this might motivate Lamar Jackson even more. But we do always get into this mode, whether it's people in the media or fans saying we were just this close. We might just be there again next year. Nothing's really promised in the NFL. I think you can take a look at what the Commanders did to the Lions. The Lions now are out an offensive coordinator. They're out a defensive coordinator. I'm sure some of the people on that staff will be picked over as well. Not a really great time for the Lions, although they're like same as the Ravens. Their rosters are loaded. They have great continuity. They've been together for a few years. How do you get over the hump? Prime example, no shade, but the 49ers making the Super Bowl a few times, not winning one. It's not promised in the NFL. Things change in an instant. So we'll see what the Ravens and the Lions can do going forward. Next order of business, the coin disrespector will stay right in that game. I don't think anyone would be surprised at this being my take, but Mark Andrews picked the worst time to have his worst game as a pro. And, as good a guy as we know Mark Andrews is, Google his name. He helped a family, he saved a woman's life. He's been through a lot health-wise, a model of what you can overcome. But in terms of respecting coin, it's kind of tough, man. That fumble was pretty bad. All the momentum, Lamar Jackson moving the ball, just not getting down in the middle of the field. And I never played football, so it's hard for me to say, you got to get down there. He's trying to get extra yards. He's trying to get to the sideline and get out of bounds. And the Bills made plays. They made a play on that one, got a fumble recovery, and that kind of changed things up at that point in the game. And then obviously the slow-mo video that I can't even watch anymore because it's just so hard to watch someone who is so sure-handed and so good. Just dropping the 2-point conversion there at the end, at the pylon. Do they win the game? Who knows? They had all the momentum to that point. They drove right down the field. They did leave some time on the clock, so the Bills had a chance to potentially pull off a game-winning field goal, but you hate to see a game end like that with, one of the more sure-handed players in that team's history, you could argue. I think he catches that ball 9 times out of 10, so it is what it is. Lamar Jackson definitely deserves some blame with the turnovers, but he did everything he could to get his team in a position to extend the game. and, went right through Mark Andrews' hands. So coin disrespector, especially for me, I needed the Ravens to win, is Mark Andrews. On the other side, this is pretty interesting depending on what side you were on, but I had the teaser with the Chiefs in it, needed them to win by just 3 points. Obviously, they did. I did get in on Texans plus 9.5. That was just a side straight bet. And obviously had more money on the teaser, but the coin respecter is Andy Reid and the Chiefs. I mean, most people claim that they hate the Chiefs and they get all the calls and Patrick Mahomes and all of this. Like, then just fade them with the number. Like, all season long, they've been pretty bad against the spread. So, like, I don't know why you wouldn't bet against them with all the points you can get, because they don't care about the spreads. They've been pretty obvious about it. So there's no reason not to take those. So if you weren't watching from a betting perspective, the punter, Matt Ariaza, ran out of the end zone for a safety with 18 seconds left or whatever it was, or 18 yards backwards. There's only a few seconds left in the game, and that swung the spread. Game ended at 9. If you had Chiefs minus 9.5, you definitely got smoked, and that was like a really, really bad beat. So I don't feel bad. If you see 9.5 points in a playoff game, you should probably take it. It's not a general rule of thumb, but for people that know ball, I mean, you're playing for your playoff life. I don't think anyone's going to pack it in. The Chiefs had almost a month off. They didn't play their starters since Christmas. So obviously that was the right football play for the Chiefs. Didn't matter. They were winning anyway. So T's and P's if you had Chiefs spread. I did see an interview that Travis Kelce was laughing about it. Like, that's what they think about these spreads. Like, they don't care at all. They just want to win games. They've proven that they can win games, blowouts, close games, whatever. So in my case, shout out to Andy Reid. Like, let's go ahead and let them cover the spread. I actually earned some money from it. So shout out to you, Andy Reid and the Chiefs. All right. I don't want to be recording all night because I could. There's so much good stuff to talk about when you're talking about NFL Championship weekend. Some people think Wild Card weekend is the best betting weekend of the year. Some people think the divisional round is the best betting weekend of the year. I don't think Championship weekend is the best betting weekend of the year. It's sad there's only 2 more games left before the Super Bowl, but this is the bag of tricks game, right? Like, you're one step away from the Super Bowl. All the cards are in the middle of the table. You can win, the conference. We're going to see, hopefully, fireworks in both games, and that doesn't necessarily mean it has to be a lot of points. We're going to see some really damn good football, a division matchup in the NFC, Commanders-Eagles, and one of the better rivalries of the last, 5 to 10 years in the Chiefs and the Bills. So a lot to get to. Let's get started with a little note that I found. First thing, teams with a rest advantage are 26-16 straight up in the conference championship round during that span, and they're winning by an average of 2.5 points per game. This year, those teams are the Chiefs and the Commanders with the rest advantage, and those teams with the rest advantage at home are 20-7. So obviously doesn't favor the Commanders. The Commanders are on the road against the Eagles, but this will be the 3rd time they played each other this year. I'll go more into that in a little bit. Obviously, strong advantage going to Arrowhead against the defending 2-time champs. 20-7 straight up at home is a pretty overwhelming number. Sometimes the trends don't matter. These trends do get bucked from time to time, but we're talking about one of the best dynasties, you can call them, of the last 20 years, coming off the heels of what Tom Brady was able to do with the Pats, and then obviously getting some more with the Bucks. But pretty daunting, I would say, despite the Bills having a great season. So let's go in order. I'll get started first with this Commanders-Eagles game. Commanders at Eagles. Eagles are -6 as the favorites. I look into the numbers and the splits on VSiN via DraftKings. 55% of the money is on the Eagles spread. The Sharps are aligned with the Eagles. Interesting note, though, 60% of the public is on the Commanders. Couple reasons for this, in my opinion. We are prisoners of the moment as bettors. I'm prisoner of the moment often. It is what it is. You definitely saw the Commanders go on the road and handle a hostile environment in Detroit and knock off who I thought was, the best team in the NFC. Obviously, 15-win team, unbelievable season. Jaden Daniels is kind of defying logic when it comes to rookie quarterbacks. Like, there's some notes that I'll get into in a little bit, but he seemed unfazed. They played free. They played fun. I love what Dan Campbell's doing with that roster in general. They've righted the ship in, less than a year, you could say. I mean, they drafted Jaden Daniels in April. Here we are in January, and they're one win away from the Super Bowl. So kudos to the Commanders. They've played an awesome season. I kind of hate the breaks they've gotten. Obviously, since the Hail Mary, it feels like it's been rose gold for them since then. So you're welcome, Washington. So let's get into it, right? Like 70% of the money's on the over. 77% of the public is on the over. Over under set at 47.5 right now. Cold temps obviously going to be in Philly. It is what it is. It's outside. I don't know if I have a major lean on the total. If I did have to pick something for the total, I would lean under simply because these teams know each other really well. Like I mentioned earlier, they've already played each other twice. Third time, will be in a much different, much more elevated setting, but there's familiarity there, whether it is with Jaden Daniels, the matchups. Some of these players have played against each other a lot over the course of the years. So, I kind of feel like this could be a little more knockdown, drag out. You know what the Eagles want to do? They want to run the ball. They want to run the ball a lot. I don't think this is going to be a major shootout. So I've been wrong before, but my lean on that would be to take the under in the game. So let's get into some trends. Jaden Daniels, talked about him a little bit already. He'll be the 6th rookie quarterback to start a conference championship game since the NFL merger in 1970. And I got to be honest, if you don't know this stat, I'm glad that I can help you. If you're listening, rookie quarterbacks are 0-5 straight up and 1-4 against the spread all time in conference championship games. I think the last rookie quarterback to cover the spread was Sean King. If you're in for a laugh, you should check out Sean King's Twitter. He is kind of out there, but it's clear he definitely was a good quarterback in, solo in company of people trying to cover the spread as rookie in conference championship games. Another nugget, the Commanders were the 9th team listed at 150-1 or longer to make the divisional round of the playoffs, and now they're just the 4th team with that number preseason to make the conference championship. So it's really unprecedented, right? What Jaden Daniels has been able to do, what Dan Campbell's been able to do in such a short amount of time. But again, division game, a lot of these trends can kind of get thrown out. But one that I want to mention before I get too much further in, since 2004, it's about 20 years, teams meeting for the 3rd time during the season, the favored side, the road side, the away team has gone 18, 11, and 1. Let me run that back. Since 2004, teams meeting for a 3rd time during the same season have favored the road team. The away team has gone 18, 11, and 1 against the spread. That bodes well for the Commanders. Will this trend continue? We'll just have to see. We'll have to see how Jalen Hurts is. He was a little banged up with the knee last week. If he would have got that second tush push in, I would have won a lot of money. I had a 2-touchdown parlay with him and Josh Allen. That would have been nice to cash in on, but obviously that didn't happen. If you're asking me if I bet that again this week, the answer is yes. No brainer. Always. Always. Those two guys on the same slate, I'm doing it. Why not? But we move on. Overall, 15 teams have entered the conference championship on a 7-game win streak since 2004. That's what the Commanders are on right now. They've won 7 in a row. They're 4-11 against the spread, failing to cover by at least an average of 4.5 points. So there's a lot here, right? I do think there is some, prisoner of the moment, like I mentioned earlier, on the Commanders. Maybe this is a team of destiny. Who knows? Who knows? Still talking about a rookie. Still talking about a first-year coach and Dan Campbell with the team. But Dan Campbell inspires that kind of confidence, right? Like, he's loose, he's fun, he wears his hat backwards. He's got a great pulse on that locker room. Some narratives to think about. A.J. Brown definitely plays really well against the Commanders, and I'll get into that a little later. Zach Ertz spent the majority of his career with the Eagles. Now he goes back to the Link. There's just a ton to look at, right? So my lean in this game, and I'll give out some picks at the very end, would be to side with the points because these teams are so evenly matched and have matched up this season. But I do feel like this is Philly's game to lose. Would I be surprised if the Commanders win? Absolutely not. I was very surprised that they beat the Lions, so I'm not going to be naive to say they can't win this game. Also, Jalen Hurts' effectiveness and his injury outlook is massively important here. He's been practicing. We get that. If there's a hit or something happens and he can't play and they have to put in Kenny Pickett, it's going to be scary hours for the Eagles for sure. So lean, Commander spread, lean, Eagles money line. I do think we're going to get a good game there. I hope we get a good game there. We definitely don't want to have one of these games be a blowout. And I just don't see it. I don't see much blowout potential this weekend. So cautiously, because I don't really like Philly, cautiously optimistic that the Commanders can get it done, but at the very least would take the points, and we'll get into my official plays a little bit later on. Then we move to the night game. Bills Chiefs. This feels like the Super Bowl now, in my opinion. Last week, I think I came on here and said Bills Ravens feels like the Super Bowl. I feel like I stand corrected because Bills Chiefs, obviously now we have the results. This feels like the Super Bowl to me. I feel like the winner of this game will win it all. And there's a lot of reasons for that. So let's dig into the splits. Again, thanks to our homies at VSiN via DraftKings. The Chiefs are 1.5 point favorites at home. Stop me if it feels like that sounds odd. The 2-time defending champs get a home game in the conference championship in their, obviously, Kansas City conditions, a place that Josh Allen has yet to slay the dragon, and they're only 1.5 point favorites. You can look at this two ways, right? The first way is they're giving Buffalo a little more respect. You're obviously not going to make Buffalo a favorite on the road, but this is about as narrow as it gets. So I would be surprised if this number doesn't get closer to 2. I doubt it gets to 2.5. It's definitely not getting to 3 or 3.5. So you're essentially looking at pretty close to a pick 'em. I'm confused by that. If I was the odds maker, I would definitely hang a 2.5 just to kind of entice bettors. It's kind of inside that key number anyway. But to me, this feels like a little different. I'm not sure that this is, the books aren't daring people to bet the Bills. The Bills can very much go in there and win this game. I just feel like it's a little disrespect to the Chiefs, and I don't know that bodes well for the Bills. So let's get into some of the numbers. 67% of the money is on the Bills spread. So the sharps are on the Bills. Interesting. That could be why this feels so fishy to me. Like maybe they want people to hammer the Chiefs money line because it's close. It's about minus 125 or whatever it is. Let me take a quick look if I can pull it up. I mean, it's got to be something pretty slight because otherwise I don't really get it. Yeah, minus 125. Interesting stuff. And the sharps are on it, but it's not an overwhelming majority. I mean, I think anytime you get past the 75%, 3/4 of all the money or the bets are on one direction, then it starts to raise some flags. So obviously still money coming in on the Chiefs. In terms of the over-under, 69% of the money and 72% of the public are on the over. Listen, don't take too much stock in that. These teams know each other real well. These coaches know each other real well. They're not in the same division, but damn, they've played a lot of really good, really tight games over the years. You think about the last few years when they've matched up in the playoffs, it just feels like these games come down to the last 5 minutes, a kick, a trick play, whatever it is. So if I had a lean here on the total, I would lean under as well. Not sexy. It's not sexy football. It's going to be really cold in Kansas City, and they're both very aware. Both teams battle tested in the elements, so it's not like the weather is going to drastically affect how many points are scored, but the familiarity is something that I think will come into play. Both defenses pretty solid. Both defenses playing pretty well right now. So I'm going to lean under. Let me get through some trends before I make my lean on the actual game result. In home games, November or later, when the temperature is 40 degrees or less, Mahomes is 23-2 straight up in his career. His only losses were to Phillip Rivers in 2018, Tom Brady in the 2019 playoffs. That's pretty remarkable. I mean, that's pretty nuts, actually. 23 out of 25 games with those stipulations around it, and Mahomes wins straight up. We talked about it earlier. They don't care about the spreads. They're not going to be trying to win by 2, so everybody covers. No one cares. Like, on that sideline, they just want to get the dub. They've been very adamant about this being a massive goal of theirs to win 3 straight Super Bowls. And how do you blame them, right? So, another trend. Mahomes has won 20 consecutive games outright since that loss to Brady in the playoffs. The Chiefs lost to the Bills in their previous matchup. That was in the regular season. Since 2019, the Chiefs are 24-7 straight up after losing to that current opponent. And if that game's at home, they're 13-4 straight up. I mean, the deck feels really stacked against the Bills. And maybe that's why people think like, okay, third time's the charm. They're not going to, I don't know that I subscribe to that, man. Like so many people this year, like the Chiefs are lucky. They just squeak by. The refs cheat for them. Like, it's kind of annoying because like the cheating stuff, you say what you want, man. Like, it's so tired. Like, Michael Jordan got all the calls. LeBron James gets all the calls. Kobe got all the calls. Brady got all the calls. Mahomes going to get all the calls. Like, shut up. Like, we know already. If you know that he's going to get all the calls, stop hating and just bet with them. Like, just bet him money lines to win. I don't know. That's a soapbox, but whatever. In the Bills' favor. In the playoffs, scoring hasn't mattered to the Bills since 2021. Bills are straight up 6-3 in the playoffs when scoring 21 points or more. 0-3 against the Chiefs straight up, and 6-0 straight up against all other teams. So the boogeyman gets to invite you to their house in Arrowhead, and they've got to exercise some real demons. Like, this is not just out of the spur of the moment. Like, these numbers aren't coming out of nowhere. It's not like a small sample size. They haven't beat them. Is this the year? Could it be the year? Sure, it could. But if you're trying to use numbers and data to back up that bet, you don't have a lot of reasons to take the Bills. What you watched last week was a team that took a commanding lead in the first half and then either let the foot off the pedal or the Ravens really kind of tightened up at halftime because that game got really close really fast. So now you're talking about the Chiefs get an extra day of rest. I'll get into that. It's tough. The Bills currently are on a 21-game streak of not losing the turnover battle. That's the longest streak in NFL history. And if they want to win this game, they have to make that 22 games in a row. Point blank, period. Not going to get a lot of chances to pick Mahomes off. I think he's looked really good lately. You're going to have to capitalize on some fumbles like they did last week against the Ravens. That's the recipe right there. You're playing on the road. You win the turnover battle. You get a chance to win. That's it. Digging in closer on Josh Allen. Josh Allen 0-3 against the spread versus Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. Josh Allen's never won consecutive games outright being listed as an underdog. He's had 15 different opportunities as an underdog to win that next game and doesn't have a single win. So this is going to be a tough one for Buffalo. My lean, and shout out to my boy, Wes Wilson, biggest Chiefs fan I know. I'm going with the Chiefs. It is what it is. You can call me a front runner or whatever you want. I enjoy winning money. If you've been betting on the Chiefs for the last 3 years, you should be semi-rich right now. And you can be a hater until you're blue in the face. But they cash tickets. Just because they've won 2 in a row does not mean that they can't win 3 in a row. They're extremely well coached. The team is really tight-knit. Mahomes didn't get any worse. Even though Travis Kelce didn't have the best regular season, over 100 yards in the playoffs. He's showing up because it's time, Add in Xavier Worthy, who scored against the Bills last time they played. This is very similar to what me and my boy Brower, one of my closest homies, when we go to Vegas every year. If Brady was there, we're betting on Brady. If Mahomes was there, we're betting on Mahomes. So it is what it is. Call me a front runner if you want. But I'm leaning Chiefs. I think the Chiefs get it done. And if the Bills get it done, tip my hat. I would root for the Bills in the Super Bowl if they got there 100%. But my lean is the Chiefs. They cashed me out last year. Definitely was on the other side of a lot of people I was close with, people I was watching the game with. It's just hard to bet against Mahomes, man. You got him at home. They're going to have a little extra rest. It's just really, really hard to say that the Chiefs are going to lose this caliber game at home. And you got to think, too, just being 1.5 point favorites got to piss them off a little bit, I would think. Whatever you can use as motivation, right? It's like that Last Dance effect. Start making stuff up. They might go to the podium after winning and say, everybody counted us out. That is corny. But that's what they're doing because we're giving them reasons to do it. So many people already. What was the number? 67% of the money is on the Bills. I don't even know if it's just because we're so tired of the Chiefs. I'm not tired of the Chiefs because when I bet on them, they win me money. So I will be rooting for the Chiefs with my boy Wes Wilson because truly, there are no solid, concrete reasons why you should put your hard-earned cash on the Bills. It's not like the Bills are, 6.5 point underdogs and you can get almost 2-1. You're betting a pick'em. Who's going to win, Bills or Chiefs? I'm going to take the Chiefs. Everyone bet their own way. If you like the Bills, go crazy, man. Go crazy. All right, let's wrap things up with some picks. A lot to get to in this 2-leg parlay for the weekend. Little unconventional. Can't bet a teaser. But I am going to bet an alternate spread parlay. Here's what I got. 2 legs. I do think the Commanders can keep this game close. How close? Very unclear. But I do think there's going to be a lot of running in this game. I don't think it's going to be as high scoring as Lions Commanders was. So give me the Commanders plus 14.5. You get a 2 touchdown cushion with a hook. And give me the Chiefs plus 3.5. That comes out to minus 125 on FanDuel. Pretty close to even money. If you like the Bills, definitely this is the way to go, because they can lose by a field goal, or they win the game outright, you're good. Not the Bills. If you like the Chiefs, this is the way to go. Tripping. They can lose by a field goal and you still win the bet. If you think that the demise of the Chiefs is coming, this might be the bet for you. Commanders plus 14.5, Chiefs plus 3.5, minus 125 on FanDuel. I don't see the Chiefs losing, and I definitely don't see the Chiefs getting blown out at home. So this feels like a fun 2-leg bet that you can kind of ride through the Sunday and hopefully come away with some cash. So 2 legs, Commanders plus 14.5, Chiefs plus 3.5, minus 125 on FanDuel. If you're looking for something moderate, you're just trying to chill, that might be the bet for you. I don't like chilling very much. I'm not going to put in any crazy requests, but 4-leg parlay that I like for this weekend. A.J. Brown to score an anytime touchdown, paired with the Eagles to win. Xavier Worthy anytime touchdown, paired with the Chiefs to win. Here's why I like this. I went through some of the numbers, and A.J. Brown has dominated when playing against the Commanders. Just is what it is. For some reason, he goes off against them. You can also kind of look for some nuggets on why he would potentially break out in this game. He's been really quiet for the last couple weeks. I think a lot of people are expecting him to be more involved. I know they love to run the ball. That is what it is. But in this game, I do think it's going to come down to a handful of plays. Washington is 25th against the wide receivers. Their defense is 25th against wide receivers. So I like A.J. Brown. On the other side, Xavier Worthy definitely had his breakout against the Bills. They did not win that game, the Chiefs, but also quiet in the last couple games. I think he's going to have a big game. I think he might be the X factor in this one. No pun intended with his name. And he's got familiarity with the end zone against them. So, again, we were short by a half an inch last week on Xavier Worthy. I'm going back to the well. There's so many creative ways they can use them. They can throw them deep balls. They can throw them screens. They can do jet sweeps. All of those things. And truly, while I wish and hope that the Commanders can get it done, because I don't like Philly, I do think the Eagles win at home, and I do think the Chiefs win at home. So A.J. Brown plus the Eagles to win, Xavier Worthy plus the Chiefs to win. That comes to $13.78 on DraftKings. $100 bet wins you $1,378. Could be fun. Could be fun. Quick 4 legs. Finally, this is for the real D-Gens in the room. So if you're not a real D-Gen and you don't want to take any long shots, then this is not the play for you. That's my disclaimer. Because I'm swinging for the fence. And it's going to be sweaty. But one of my favorite quotes in the betting world is, what's a good bet without a good sweat? So, 4 legs, anytime touchdown. I'm taking all 4 quarterbacks to score a touchdown. Jalen Hurts, Jaden Daniels, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. 4 legs. That comes to 50-1 on both DraftKings and FanDuel. Either way you slice it, 50-1 odds. $100 wins you $5,000. Listen, we've seen in this playoffs specifically, the quarterbacks are so involved. If you don't bet them all to score touchdowns, bet their overs on rushing. Play breaks down, season's on the line. These quarterbacks are putting themselves on the line. We saw it with Jaden Daniels running. We saw it with Josh Allen running, didn't do as much of it, but he was very active. Jalen Hurts is going to have to be out of the pocket. He scored a long touchdown on the ground last week. And, Mahomes will surprise you every once in a while. He scored a touchdown. He scores his touchdowns when his teams need it most. So 4 legs, all 4 quarterbacks to score. Hurts in the box, Daniels in the box, Allen in the box, Mahomes in the box, 50-1 on both FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a long shot. It's a crazy swing. But if it happens, you can get rich. What's a good bet without a good sweat? All right, man, this was fun. This was a really fun episode. There's so much to get into, from the trends to the splits to everything. So don't forget, quick reminder, shout out to the homies at DraftKings. They are killing the promos game. King of the End Zone will be back this weekend. I cashed last week on Jameson Williams. I think it was a $32 bonus bet. There's going to be some opportunity to get this done. So don't forget to tap in. I might share a play for that later in the weekend. And then looking ahead, we will have the buffer week between conference championships and the Super Bowl. That's usually when the props get put out. But DraftKings, again, the homies are crushing it. If you want to bet anytime touchdown scores for Super Bowl, they are up on DraftKings. So go take a look at the markets. And public disclaimer, PSA, if you like the Eagles to win this weekend, you should go to DraftKings and invest on both Saquon and Jalen Hurts you could parlay them, I think, but definitely bet them to score before these games start this Sunday, because you can get Saquon at plus money. You can get Jalen Hurts closer to 2-1 than you ever can get. So if you like them to score and you think that the Eagles are going to win, I would bet that now. I'm going to take a quick peek just so I can let you know what the other lines are, because it is interesting. Those markets are already up, so it doesn't hurt to look ahead. If there's value, why not take it? So you can go to Super Bowl LIX specials. They have anytime touchdown score, first touchdown score, and winning seed. Cool markets, man. Really cool markets out early. If you like the Chiefs to win, see where you can get Travis Kelce at. You can get him at 3-1. That's about as good as you're going to get. You can get Josh Allen at 3-1 if you think the Bills are going to win. Some good value on the board for sure if you want to look ahead. First touchdown score market's obviously really good too. You can get Travis Kelce at 18-1 for the first touchdown. Jalen Hurts 9-1. Josh Allen 14-1. Worth a look if you're confident. If you want to sprinkle the board on a look ahead, those markets are available. Shout out to the homies at DraftKings. Okay, we're done. I am done. This has been awesome. Again, thank you so much. 10 episodes feels like a milestone. Appreciate you for listening, liking, subscribing, engaging with the social content, doing my best to provide as much information and fun as we can here on Respect Coin. So that's it. I'm out. Definitely send me your plays. Hit me up on social at Mike Alex Bolling anytime. Want to talk through something online? I'm here for it. Hug your people. Call your mom. Call your dad. Call your buddy that you haven't seen in college in a long time. Tell them what bet you like. Maybe you guys can win some money together. I'm Michael Bolling. This has been, again, the 10th episode of Respect Coin, and I appreciate everyone who listens and supports. Always respect it. And we'll see you next week. Peace, y'all. Good luck.